So thank you for coming, everyone. Welcome to this Twilight on Microsoft Sway. My name is Lisa Antani, and I teach digital literacy and computer science at Lindsay Meadow. My background is software development, and I'm currently back at uni doing a teaching qualification in computer science. And I'm a member of Eastern Bartonshire Council's MIEE team alongside Jackie.
Hi, my name's Jackie Barry and I'm the librarian at Bearstown Academy and Lindsay Academy.
So just to get us started, if everyone wants to just put in the chat section where they feel they're currently at with Sway, one being I've not even opened it up, I'm not really sure what it is, and 5 being you're an expert and you've used it loads and you're doing lots of Sways. Got 4. Two. Some 2s. Fabulous. You guys are in the right place. Hopefully, at the end of today's session, we'll see those numbers go up a little bit more. To get us started, Jackie's going to talk to us about what Sway is, and then she'll pass over to me and I'll go through how you actually put a Sway together.
Okay, why Sway? I have to say I've asked myself this question as well because I was a big fan of PowerPoint and I didn't really know why I would need Sway, but I have been converted to it and I now use it all the time. So a Sway is a multi-platform presentation tool. It allows you to create an interactive, digital, visually more appealing presentation that can be easily shared and viewed on computers, tablets, and mobiles. You don't need to worry about compatibility with devices. All you have to do is send the link and people will be able to view it. And I was finally totally converted to Sways once I saw what they actually looked like in your mobile. People could just flick through the presentation really, really easily. And you, as I said, you can view it on PCs, tablets, mobiles, it doesn't matter. So it can be used face-to-face or remotely. When we came back from the last lockdown, I run a staff book group and we couldn't meet in the school, so I decided to create a Sway. And I got some images of the books that we were going to read or consider reading off the internet, and then I linked them to a summary of the book as well. And then at the very end, I actually included a Microsoft form so that people could vote on what book they wanted to read. The other time I've used it has been when we had the Book Week Scotland quiz in school. Now, because of lockdown or coronavirus, I couldn't have all the kids in the library, so what I ended up doing was creating a Sway, telling you about Book Week Scotland, and I had some people in the library looking at the Sway and then doing the competition, and some did it at home remotely on their mobiles or tablets. I also managed to embed the quiz at the bottom of it, and I had absolutely no complaints that anybody not being able to access the Sway. So who can view a Sway? Basically anyone. As long as you send the link to them, anybody can use the Sway. They can use it on their mobile, their tablet. So uses for staff. I have to say the best use for it that I've seen is to create a school newsletter. Now you can create a newsletter from scratch, so you can create a new one, or you could do is convert an existing one. You've maybe produced it on Word. You can just at a click of a button and you can actually convert it into a Sway. And I say, because parents can look at it easily on their mobiles and tablets and things like that, there's no problems with viewing it. Also, you can display photographs on it really well, really nice layout that Lisa Ann will show you later on. Also, sometimes with parents, if you've got maybe a child in P7, you don't want to hear about all the other years. You're just interested in what's happening in your P7 group, so you can quickly flick through it. You can also, you maybe have created a booklet in Word or PowerPoint. Basically, in one switch, one click, you can actually convert that into a Sway. So you click there. This is a Sway that was originally a PowerPoint. It's been converted into a Sway, and the link can be sent out to the pupils. That's really easy to do. Now, I've created quite a few how-to guides using SWAY. I was recently created this Microsoft Educator Centre SWAY because I wanted to let people know how useful Microsoft Centre was and how much they can learn from it. I also wanted to promote the Microsoft Innovator Educator Programme and show how easy it was to actually join and start earning badges. And if you go down here, I just used a series of screenshots and added them to my SWAY. I also added clips from YouTube, Microsoft clips that could explain some of the features of the centre. So that was quite easy, and that went out to my Bearsden and my Lenzie schools. So as I said, you can create from scratch your SWAY, or you can convert an existing document into a SWAY. You can also search for a topic. So this is just an example. So I put in Jacobites, and you can create an outline. So that instantly helps you to lay out your SWAY. You'll get text help, and you will also get photographs will be up there that you can use as well, and you can build your SWAY from that. So how can pupils use the SWAY? Pupils can use the SWAY by creating a newsletter as well. In Lenzie, we have a fair trade committee in school, and pupils are from different years and different groups. A SWAY allows them to contribute to the website, their newsletter, and at different times and places that suit the group. So that's quite good. And because SWAYs present photographs quite well, it's very good to be able to create a photo album. You've maybe got a class project that you're working on and you want to show how much work has went into it. You can use a SWAY to load up photographs, and you can show how the project has progressed and how much work has went into it. And then what you could do is your project SWAY could then be added to your school SWAY. So you could have a SWAY within a SWAY. It can also be quite good for pupils to use a SWAY to showcase or record the work that they've done. They could maybe do a science project and they want to include photographs or video clips of their experiments, so they could build a SWAY and create a SWAY to display it all. So that's generally what a SWAY does. What I'm going to do is pass you back to Lisa Ann, and she can actually show you how to create a SWAY.
Okay, so first up, how to get into SWAY. You can do it via the waffle tile that comes up in your emails and Teams and things like that. You can go into the Office 365 tile, and it just comes up on the apps in your lower left there. You can click on SWAY. However, when you open it up this way, it opens it up within the sort of Glow app menus and things. So I tend to prefer just to go directly into the SWAY website. The first time you do it, it will ask you for your email address and password, and it's just your Glow email, so your ED and your code at glow.sch.uk and your usual Glow password, and that brings you here. So as Jackie mentioned, you can create one from scratch. You can start from a topic. This is a fabulous time saver. So if I click on this, and if I'm doing, for example, the water cycle, I just type that in, click create, and let's go for this one. And straight away, it's bringing up some information for me. It takes you through different aspects, and it quite often puts pictures and things for you in there as well. Or, as Jackie said, you can click on here and upload a Word document or a PowerPoint or something that you've already created that you want to change over to a SWAY. Because the huge benefit of SWAY is that anyone on any device can see it without having to download anything. So I would, if you have got existing PowerPoints and things that you send out, I would recommend converting them to a SWAY. I know lots of people do use PDFs. However, with a PDF, if you open it up on a mobile, I really don't like it because the text is just tiny, and you end up having to zoom in and then scroll left, right, up and down. It's not very user friendly, and SWAY works around that for you. And obviously PDFs are flat text and photographs, whereas the SWAY is interactive. So SWAY is much better than PowerPoints and PDFs. I'm just going to start up by creating a new SWAY from scratch so that you can get a feel of how it works. First of all, I'll show you something that I've created just so you can see a finished SWAY and how that looks. So if I open up, let's see, here we go. So this one is one which I created for a university project on a computer science in-class lesson. Now, because I created it, when I open it up, it defaults to the storyline view, which is where you add and rearrange your content. However, if this was being sent to someone as a link, this is not what they would see. They would see this view here. So this is how it looks to someone that gets sent the link. It comes up like this. This one is kind of like a traditional slide type format. So you start with your starter question and move on to introducing the concept, the little video there, and then we come into programming in Scratch, thinking about decomposition. So this is created for an in-class lesson on programming. Now, one of the huge benefits of SWAY is if you click this little button here, it brings you to the main sections of your SWAY that you can jump in between. So I could jump straight to the plenary here and talk about that. Or I could go back to the starter question. So when you create a SWAY, I like to think of it as being like a book, and your various different sections are the chapters within that book. So we've obviously got our title, which should be like our front cover, starter question, some information about decomposition and programming, a plenary, and then I had some photo credits at the end. And so that's a huge benefit of having a SWAY, is that you can do that easily, jumping in between main sections like that. You can do that in a PowerPoint, however, you would have to create the links yourself. PowerPoint doesn't do that for you. So that's one of the things I really like about it. So if I click on Edit, you can see how that SWAY looks like within the storyline. So you can see that there's these sort of grey boxes. These are called cards. So when you're creating a SWAY, you're basically building up a collection of cards. And within those cards, you can have videos, photographs, tweets, thing links. You can have all sorts of interactive content going on within the cards. And they're obviously numbered for you here. So this is section 4, the photo credits, which obviously links up automatically with this bit here. So this bit here is generated automatically by SWAY. You don't have to do this. So that's what a SWAY can look like when it's played, and how it looks like in the storyline. So if I just go back to SWAY and start one up, by default you have one card automatically sitting there for you, which is your title card. So if I just give this the title of, let's see, Primary 1 newsletter. Over here, I've got an option to add in a photograph if I like. So if I click over here, obviously I would perhaps go to upload from my device and put in an actual picture of my classroom. But for the purposes of this, I'll just take one from the internet. Now, these are all Creative Commons images, so I don't have to worry about copyright violations. I can choose any of these pictures, safe in the knowledge that I'm not breaking copyright rules. So I'll just choose one at random and click add to add that in. So that's me got effectively the front cover of my SWAY, if you like, the front cover of the book. That's my title, the sort of main beginning section. Now, if I want to add in other content, it's just a matter of clicking this plus button here, and that lets me add in additional cards. So you've obviously got different types you can add here. Now these headings, that's your sort of chapters. So every time you create a new heading card, that creates a new chapter in the Sway, and that correlates with that quick jump navigation that I showed you earlier. So this is your sort of main containers, and then obviously within this you would have your different bits of content. So I'm going to start with a bit of text that simply says, welcome to our digital newsletter. And you'll notice up here it's very much like Microsoft Word. If you want to, you can emphasize your text, you can make it italicized, you can have bullet points. To turn it off, you just click it again. You could have a numbered list. You can put in a website link just by highlighting a word and then putting in a link there. And this bit over here is how much emphasis I'm going to give this text, a small emphasis or a medium emphasis, which just makes it a little bit more prominent in this way. I'll show you how that looks differently when you play it in a bit. So that would be my sort of introduction part. And next up, I am going to put in an image to go alongside this. So if I put in image, and then over here, if I type in newsletter, don't really like those, in newspaper. So if I wanted to add in an image, I click that. Now because this is a separate card effectively, I've got my image card and I've got a photograph card. Sway will treat those as two separate entities. So when I play this, let me just click that there. Yeah, when I play it, they are kind of separate. But if I wanted to guarantee them being together and looking a bit more together and grouped, what I could do is go back to my text card, tick it, come down to my image card and tick it, and I can group these together so that they appear automatically together on the same slide or on the same page and not as two separate entities. It just makes it look less disjointed. It's the equivalent of having a PowerPoint slide with a bit of text in it and adding a photograph in. That's basically what that does. So I have this bit here. Next up, I am going to add in another section. So I'm going to click on heading, and it might be within here that I've got literacy. We're talking about whatever's happening in literacy. Again, I can click on a picture. So I might want to put a picture of the alphabet in there. Click on that and add. And then I'm going to click in this literacy section, and this time I want to add in a video. So say I've taken a video of children doing phonics, or I want to have them reinforce a sound at home or something like that. So this week's sound could be this sound. If I type that in, it's automatically taking me to some content, video content with that sound. So if I just choose one at random and add it in, I can put a caption in there. It's always good for accessibility to have captions on your photographs and your videos and things. So I've now effectively got my heading, a little bit of an introduction, and a section on literacy. Now with the photographs, if you click on them, come out of here. If you click on a card that's got a photograph on it and you click on focus points, it lets you see what that will look like on different devices, which is really useful. And what it also lets you do is choose a focus point. So if there's a particular bit of the photograph that was particularly important, so for example, it's a group shot of some children, you'd want to make sure that the mobile image had their faces on it, and they weren't cut off the top, and it was just showing you, you know, table legs and their feet at the bottom. So what you can do is you can click to put a focus point in, and that means Sway will ensure that on various different devices that photograph will come up. And you can add in more than one focus point. You can have a range of focus points, and Sway will make sure that on different devices those parts of the image come up. Doesn't matter so much with this particular image, but with some images that is important. So when you're going through your Sway, you might want to click on your focus points and just go through and make sure. So if I wanted this newspaper headline to definitely appear, I could have those as my focus points and make sure they're included. So if I click play, we can see, have a look at how that's looking at the moment. And we've got these various different sections going on. I can go back to edit and create another chapter. So if I click here on the outer grey, go to new heading, and perhaps here I want to have, let's see, something about, I don't know, maybe computer science. Click over here on the background image. Maybe I want to have a picture of a computer. Choose something like that, add it in. And let me just check the focus points on that. So maybe I want to make sure the keyboard is in. So you can see how changing these focus points changes how it looks down here. Now obviously if the focus points are up here on a tablet, the image doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I might just move that down a little bit, and you can play around with it until you think it looks good on tablets and mobile phones. So I've got this, and then maybe now I want to put in a thing link. That's really easy to do. All you have to do is click on media and then click on embed. So all I need to do is get some embed code for a thing link, and I can embed it into here. So if I go into my ThingLink account, and choose a ThingLink, if I click on share, so this is already the embedded media link here. If I copy that, go back to my Sway, I can paste that into here. And if I click play, we'll see now that my thing link has been embedded and it fully works. This particular thing link is it a computer or not? So if you click on something, yes, it's a computer, or no, it's not. So that's how you can easily embed a thing link in there to give it that bit more interactivity. What you can also do here is you can also embed a form. So if you go to media and you click on embed, I can go over to one of my forms. You have to be careful that it's a live form, otherwise it doesn't work. This one's live. If I click on share, click on the embed code here and copy that, come back over to Sway and paste it, we should now see we've got a form in there. It's wanting me to log in. So you can embed forms in there too. Now, one of the things that really changes how your Sway looks is when you've got, for example, a video. This bit here is sort of the set emphasis. So this is sort of minimal emphasis, this is moderate, and this is intense. So basically I think of it as small, medium, and large. And it changes the prominence of that object within the card obviously with that being really prominent and that being a little bit subtle. So it's good to play around with that, just to see how they look. So that is basically how you add content to a sway. You can easily click on your cards with the cursor here, and you can move them around within different sections. It's easy to sort of drag. You just basically drag and drop elements up and down if you decide on a completely different order that you want to put them in. And then one more thing I wanted to show you was the great way you can set out images within a sway, rather than just having a single image like we did further up here with the newspaper. Sway gives you some really nice options for displaying images. So let's just say, let's make a new heading and let's call it art. So if I choose maybe some paint here, choose that image, add it in. So if I now click add and click on group, this gives me various different options for adding a group of images. You can switch it once they're done, so it's fine. If I click on, for example, grid, and over here, if I put in children's art, now obviously you would be doing this with artwork or whatever for your own class. I'm just going to pick some random images here and then click add. And what Sway does is it groups those together for me, and let's have a look at how they look. So Sway has automatically just put them together in a sort of grid format here for me, which is quite nice. But if I go into edit and I click on group, I can change down the bar here how that looks. If I click on stack and then play it, you'll see now it's literally like a stack of photographs. Oops, I mean to maximize it. If you click on top, it just lets you flick through them, which is really nice. Obviously that's a bit small, can make them bigger. Let's make them moderate, and that should make them a little bit bigger. And there we go. So you can just flick through. It's a really nice way of showing off your pupils' work. If I go back to edit, click on group type, I could have it as a straightforward grid. Which is just like that. Again, click on group type. I could have it as a slideshow without a preview at the bottom, or a slideshow with a preview at the bottom. So if I click on the one with, again scrolling down, you'll see that you can click through each of the images and there's just a little preview at the bottom as to what's coming next, which is really nice, like that one. Again, if I click on group type, oh, there's a comparison one. So this comparison one you would use with 2 photographs. So let me just start a new group and call it comparison. So if I upload an image, now ideally you want to have 2 images that are identical but slightly different. So for example, one is daytime, one is nighttime, or something like that. Let's drag that up. If I add another image, and then for some reason it's added them one's extra, drag that up. So this is called a comparison group, and let's make that moderate. Just show you how that works. This could be really good for science and things like that. So what it does is it lets you scroll along the image to see how it looks at different times. So we've got London Bridge at night time, London Bridge in the daytime. It could be really good for sort of geography subjects as well, sort of before and after, or how areas have changed over time. It's a really nice little feature that you can add in there. But the best part of a sway is this part here, the design section. So when you click on design and you click on styles, you can choose how your sway is displayed. So vertical basically means that you're reading it from top down to the bottom, just like a web page. You're scrolling it like that. If you choose horizontal, you're therefore going from left to right. I think that works really well with things like, history and talking about, if you're talking about the wars of independence and dates, different things happen. I think it gives a real sense of sort of chronology, going from, moving through time from left to right. Quite like that one. Or you can have it set on slides so that it basically plays it just as it would like PowerPoint slides. So you're flicking through it like this. Now with the slides, that's why it's important to group objects. If I hadn't grouped this bit of text with this image, this bit of text would have been one slide on its own, and then this image would have been one slide on its own. So that's when it's important to have objects grouped together when you're doing this mode. Otherwise, it just looks a bit disjointed, having a slide of text and a slide as a photograph and a slide as text. And obviously, if I click here, that's taking me to those sections I created. My main header, my literacy section, and my computer science section, which is one of the great things about a sway, that you're able to do that. So when you've decided which way around you want it to be, vertical, horizontal, or slides, the next thing you can do is customize how it looks. Now, if you're doing something like Halloween or winter and things like that, and you've put a photograph in, what Sway does, you can use that photograph and it takes the color scheme from that photograph and puts some color palettes together for you. So this works really well with seasons and Christmas and things like that. I really like that feature. You can also come down here and change your different font groupings and customize how they look. And you can change your animation emphasis, like your sort of moving text and images around. If you have children who are easily distracted, you might want to slide this all the way down to subtle, which is really good for accessibility if you have children who do struggle to focus. And obviously you can change your text size as well, which again is a good accessibility feature that's built in there. If I just come out of that. Another option you have down here is you've got 7 different rows of sort of pre-made design templates that you can click through. So if I click on this one, completely changes my sway to look like this. So it gives it a certain sort of look and feel. And ones that are on the same row basically belong to the same family, and there's just some subtle differences between them. So if I click here, again, it's changed how it looks. Like this, it's kind of a similar, but if you jump down to a different row, for example, if I come down here, it completely changes how it looks altogether. Now, if you don't have the patience for this kind of thing, and you don't want to sit and be scrolling through all these various different options to see how the different looks and feels go, what you can do is just click this remix button up the top, and that means that Sway just gives you a completely random selection that you can just try out. So if I click remix, click on play, I can have a look, see how that looks. If that form doesn't really work at that size, that seems really quite small for a form, and so does the thing link. So what I can do is go back to edit, into storyline, click on my form and give it bigger, make it really prominent. Again, same with the thing link, going to make them look really prominent. If I go back to play it, you'll hopefully see now they've been given a lot more prominence. See how much bigger they are now. A lot more prominent in there, as is the form. So yeah, you can have lots of fun playing around with all the different design families. There, in the takeaway, there is some information about how these different families treat different things, like your subtitles, your text describing images and things like that. There's different rules that belong to each of these different families that I can never remember. I always have to refer to the handout. So I'll make sure you get a copy of that in the takeaway, just so you can see how that works. Yes, so once you have played around with your sway and you have got it looking the way you like, what you then want to be doing is sharing it. So that's really easy to do. You can come up here, click on share, and you can share it so that only specific people can see it. You would obviously type in their email addresses down here. You can set it so that only people within Glow can see it, or you can set it so that anybody with a link can see it. And what you can also do is give them the rights to just simply view it, or give them rights to edit it. So if you've got pupils, for example, I had Lindsay Meadow pupils working on a newsletter, obviously I would do specific people or groups, type in their email addresses and make sure that edit was selected for all of them. Sway allows you to have up to 10 people editing the Sway at once. So just be aware of that. You can't have 11, 12 students on at once or on at different times editing a Sway. It just won't let you. 10 is the limit. Well, same for adults as well. You can have a maximum of 10 people editing a Sway, so just be aware of that. So that's basically how the Sway is put together. You've got your different cards within the storyline. You click on design to go through your different options for display and your different design settings. Play around with it, and when you're done, you share it. Now, if I just pass back to Jackie, I think she was going to talk about tweets.
Right, you can actually use different platforms as well. As Lisa Ann mentioned, you can include ThinkLink in it. You can add a sway to a sway. You can also add the microforms onto your sway as well. You can also add things like the Wakelet app, which is a really good source of it's a really good app that allows you to save and organise and share content across the web. You can build collections of electronic resources such as websites, videos, tweets. You can put them all into your Wakelet, and then you can add that to your sway as well. Also, Flipgrid's quite a good app. It can only be used by teachers at the moment, and you can make short video clips of yourself. And this is quite good to add to a sway. Mrs. Davison in Lindsay Academy has made quite a lot of how-to guides, and basically she's included a short video of herself explaining verbally the instructions to her pupils. And so they've got it written there. She's talking about it as well, and it makes the sway come alive a wee bit. Also, tweets. If maybe your school's had a big activity and we've tweeted photographs of what's happening in your school, you could take those tweets and add them into your school newsletter really easily as well. And the final thing I want to say about sways is it's really, really important that the fact that they actually update your sway live. If you maybe sent out a sway and you realise there's a spelling mistake in it, you thought, well, I need to change that, or you want to update it in some way, if you just go into your slide and update it, it will update all that link to your pupils. Okay, so it's really easy. It cuts down a lot of paper as well. Okay, so you can put in a Wakelet. Okay, and that's just a demonstration of a Wakelet. It's got full of information. So you can put in Flipgrid, and finally As said, you can put in a tweet. All goes into your Sway. So I'll just pass you back over to Lisa Ann.
Okay, so thinking of the different possibilities for Sway, there is so much you can do with it. So for example, when you're doing remote learning, it's an ideal place to just keep everything in one area, and you know that no matter what your pupils are using, whether it's a mobile phone, a tablet, a Chromebook or whatever, you know they're going to be able to see it. So I had some, sorry, that's the wrong one. Let me just go back. I had some remote learning lessons set up in Sway. So you would have, so this is week 4, computer science, had my learning intention, and then I had a link that they had to do, and then I had links to my previous lessons, so they could go through and see if they'd missed anything out, to see what they'd missed. It's an easy way to put into, this is a YouTube video of me explaining what an algorithm is, what a computer is, and then we had Nina and the Neurons from the BBC singing a song about it, and then we had our ThingLink activity, and then I had a quiz down at the bottom, and again links to previous lessons in case they were busy the previous week and they missed out, because each lesson sort of built on the previous one, so it was important that they didn't skip weeks and just go on with the current week, which is why I always put in this link to previous lessons. So Sway is an ideal way to keep remote lessons, sort of everything together in one place, and you know it's going to be accessible for everyone. Another great thing about Sway is it is really good for newsletters. We used it, I had the health committee at Lenzie Meadow put together a health and wellbeing newsletter. There we go. So this was put together by pupils. It's really quite easy for them to do. So we just had a little introduction, what was it about, and then we had some different images, and this was actually examples of the pupils' work that they had, the pupils who were in the hub, the key worker children, they made these mandalas. So that's them just showing those off. And then they wanted to show some pictures of cute pets. As you do, this is what they wanted to put in. Then they had some links to yoga for relaxation. A recipe was in there. And then we just had the school contact details at the end. So when you're thinking of Sway, don't specifically think of it as something for you to use. You can also have pupils working together and collaborating remotely to make things on there as well. What they could also do, if you've got older pupils, is you could have them put together a portfolio of their work from a particular topic. You could have them doing visual summaries of books. You could have them putting together a journal for a lab experiment. There's just so much scope and so many different things you can do within it. Don't just think of it as being a tool for you presenting. Think of it as what can the pupils be doing in there as well. Does anyone want to share their number for how they feel about using a Sway? Because we had quite a lot of 2s at the start. I'm hoping we've maybe moved up a little bit. Yay, we've got 3s and 4s. That's good. Perfect. Remember, if you do get started, best thing to do is just to open up a Sway and play around with it. If you do that and you find something's not quite working as you think it should, don't forget to post in the EDC digital learning community, and one of us will be around to help you out. I will post a takeaway on here just so you can see how the different design rules for the different levels of the design templates, they refer to them in rows. So there's a row 1, row 2, row 3. And what I'll also do is put up the codes so that you guys can earn credits for attending. And that's the codes for the MEC. If you've not been in the Microsoft Education Centre, I highly recommend you check it out. And if you click on the upper right on your little profile icon and then click redeem code, you will earn credits for attending this session. But thank you for coming, and amazingly, I think this is the first time ever a Twilight has finished early.